Guys, how are you doing today? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about, if you're new here, my name is Bukola and I discuss anything lifestyle, workplace navigation, anything that comes to my mind. So today I'm going to be talking about the school fiasco that happened like a couple of weeks ago. So for those of you who don't know, there was a video that was leaked online about a 10-year-old girl having sexual relations with somebody her age, and I think the mother came out to say that she was raped, and that kind of caused like an uproar in the country, and people were like, no, your child wasn't raped. Your child seemed like she had more experience than the guys in the video. And I think that just kind of erupted a lot of emotions in different people, and myself included. I took my time to talk about this because where children are concerned, we really need to be extremely careful. We need to be careful of the kind of materials that we circulate. We need to be careful where we circulate those materials. We need to be careful of the comments that we make. We just need to be really careful. So we should be very careful of kind of things that we put on the internet or we are sharing, because that clip is considered to be child pornography because she's still a child. And yes, she's made a mistake that should not hang on her head for the rest of her life. I mean, she may not even know if this is wrong or right, and that's because she's probably been molested by somebody. I'm just saying these are just scenarios that I'm painting in my head, because I'm just thinking, what does a 10-year, when I was 10, I didn't know anything about sex. I mean, when I was 10, I had no idea what went into where. I had no idea what sex was. So at 10, if a child is doing all of that, then there's every possibility that she may have been molested or she's been introduced to it by somebody, an older person. And I think that's one of the things the mother should have done. I think one of the things the mother should have done first is to find healing for her daughter. Find out what's going on. Try to understand why it happened. Try to get it. Maybe she's just even using that to get your attention. Maybe you don't pay her attention. Kids do a lot of things. I remember how my grandma used to say that parenting is a school that you can never graduate from. And I understand it's actually very, very challenging to be a parent sometimes. But the truth of the matter is you still have to do the job, because you called the child into this world. You chose to have those children. You have to be available to parent them physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. You have to be a parent because you asked to be their parents. They didn't ask to be born. You have to have them, and when they are here, it may be difficult, yes, but then you need to do your job. Your job like needs to be done. So I feel that all this dragging the school, prosecuting them, all those things, I think it could have waited. Honestly, I feel that it could have waited until after you take care of your child, because I don't think the mother is taking care of her daughter. I don't think her parents, I don't think the parents, I don't think they have taken care of that child. I don't think they have done all the things that they need to do as parents to kind of heal. I don't think I feel that maybe after physical and the medical, I think she should have been taken for maybe counseling, psychological evaluation, and all of those things, so that you even try to understand the problem from the root. So why are you like this? When this happened, what happened? Did anybody molest you? Did you watch this on the TV? How did you get like this? Are you doing this to get attention? You need to understand why that child went all the way out to do that thing. And by the time you understand it, then you start the healing process. Whatever has caused it. If it was abuse, then counseling. If it was something she's even watched on the television, then counseling would also help her. If it was anything, I feel that the mother really should have waited, taking care of her child first, which is like the priority. Because what has happened, but take care of your child. take care of your child. And then after your child is fine, after you feel that okay, maybe to a level you people have been able to, bring her to a level where she's maybe okay or getting better, then you can drag the school to wherever you want to drag them to. It's not before you do anything for your own child that you now come. So the health of the child, the mental health of the child, psychological health, the physical, you abandon it to be dragging the school because you don't want to call it, you don't want to take the blame for what's actually your blame, like your fault. No. And I also think that this is why it is important for parents to talk to their children about sex. I mean, we can't continue to shy away from the topic of sex. Talk to your child about sex. Talk to them about sex education. Educate them, because if I believe that if this child has had like previous education on sex before all of this happened, I don't think she would have gone into this. She would have known better because she has prior understanding. And I feel that parents should start talking to their kids about sex maybe as early as 6 years old. I feel that because nowadays, even the national television shows explicit content that they're not supposed to show. You're watching like a music video and you have about 5-year-olds sitting with you watching a music video, and suddenly you see somebody dancing, I mean twerking in a bikini bottom. And do you ever wonder what goes through the child's head like when they are watching such content? I mean, even our national television, they are not really doing a good job of censoring content anymore. And apart from that, our skit makers, our comedians, I mean, they believe that it's until they put somebody who is busty, who has, I'm not shading anybody, I'm just saying that we don't have control over the content that goes out on social media, on national televisions, and our kids are actually exposed to most of this content. So it's very unfortunate that they have social media in their face, like this. Social media is in their face, and most of the time parents may not be able to control 100% the things that your kids can watch. Then we didn't have phones. Now children as early as 6-7 years old, they have their own phones. Some of them can browse the internet, and the kind of content on the internet, I used to make fun of the restriction that is on the internet when it comes to the kind of content that you can watch when you're certain ages. It's like having a big field and you have a fence. You have a gate in the middle of the field and you don't have a fence. So which means people can enter from any corner, but you think you have put a gate there. It doesn't make sense. It says click if you are 18. If I'm not 18 and I click, I go ahead and watch it. We need to start talking about sex to our kids as early as possible, because there are lots of sexually explicit content that they are exposed to and that they consume on a daily basis. If you have protected your child enough in your house, good job, well done. But the truth of the matter is probably interacting with a classmate in school that has not been protected by his own parents. He's actually maybe on his way to school picking up things, I mean on the road, maybe seeing posters of movies of people who have their boobs out, advertising movies or musical videos on his way to school. It may be a poster that he just cited out of, from the bus, that's taking him to school. So all of these things are actually in their faces, and we can't keep shying away from talking to our kids about sex. And when you talk to your kids about sex, you'll be shocked at the kind of things that they know. You'll be shocked. Equip them with the information that they need to have, so that so that they are better prepared, so that they know that, oh, if this is happening, I shouldn't be allowing, somebody shouldn't be touching me in certain areas. And that's not even just what you talk to them about sex about. They're wiser these days. They have more information that we did when we were their age. I mean, I think around 10, all I wanted to do was leave school and go and do sway and play 10. Then I didn't know what all this were. And nowadays you find out that 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds having boyfriends and girlfriends in school, and they're not ashamed to talk about it. I mean, the other day I was privileged to some children's conversation, and I was like, wait, this small pikin don't get boyfriend. So we have to, as much as it may be uncomfortable, it's the truth. You need to talk to your children about sex. Please, let's do that. Equip them with the knowledge that they need to deal with some of these things when they are faced with it. Because if you don't talk to them about it, and their friends in school tell them to do something wrong, they don't have the right information to combat that and do the right thing. So they may just eventually do the wrong thing because they don't have information. So I know it's not easy. If you know you can't do it alone, you can seek the help of a child counselor, a child sex counselor who can help you talk to your children if you can't do it yourself. I think that's where it starts from. I think education is where it starts from. When you educate your child, when you equip them with enough knowledge to navigate life, then things will be better. As a parent too, one of the things you may need to do is to also learn to know who your child is. I mean, I'm an authority on this not because I have children myself, but because I have kids around me and I've learned a lot from them. And I think kids are very, very, very intelligent. They are very wise. They are super smart. And anybody that thinks children are not smart is actually the one that is not smart. Kids are extremely smart. And I feel that they are underestimated a lot because people feel that, oh, they are just children. They don't know what they are doing. Believe me, they know what you don't know. They are aware. So please don't think that your kid or that child does not know what they are doing or cannot see you or cannot interpret what they are doing. They are very wise. They know what's going on. So they are very smart. So talk to your children, get to know them, get to experience them, so that by the time you are rubbing minds together, you have a privilege, or you kind of know the kind of friends they have in school and the kind of conversations that they have in school. Try to discipline your children. Try to train your children. I see a lot of children running around that have no home training. It's not because they did not collect home training. It's actually because their parents refused to train them. And I feel that it will make sense if we take our time to discipline our kids. I mean, you don't have to beat the child to discipline the child. You can simply learn what they respond to and then you use that to deal with them. There are kids who are absolutely a blessing. I mean, God bless their hearts. They are super easy to parent because they like to do the right thing. They are children like that. You don't even need too much to be parents to those ones. You don't need too much. You don't need to talk too much. Once you tell them, I do not want you to do this, they will adapt by everything. You say, okay, mommy, okay, daddy, and they'll do those things. But there are some children that they need extra motivation. Some of them maybe shouting that will make them, I'm not saying, I'm just, giving scenarios and examples of things I've seen around me. Some of them maybe shouting that until mommy shouts. If mommy does not shout, I cannot hear. If daddy does not scream, I cannot hear. There are kids like that. And there are some that is until you beat them, it's until you discipline them. That's what they respond to. That's the time that they will do what you ask them to do. And there are some that it's until you punish them. Some of them is until you threaten to go to their school to report them to their teachers before they listen to you. So you need to know what your child responds to and use that to discipline them. And also try as much as possible after disciplining your child. There's this saying in Yoruba that when you beat a child and you draw the child closer, try to make them understand why you have disciplined them. Try to make them understand. It's not you trying to be a weak parent that so I cannot discipline my child again. No, you can discipline your child, but let them understand why you're disciplining them. Let them understand that it's out of love. Let them understand that you're not just punishing them for anything. Because the ones around me, when I scold them or discipline them, sometimes I ask them, do you know why I've done this? And some of them will say yes, because we did that. So I'm happy that he knows that thing, that's why I punished him. So will you do it next time is the next question I'm asking. You say, no, I won't do it again. And sometimes you ask them and they're like, they don't know. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you don't know. Okay, this is why I'm doing this to you. And sometimes before I punish them, I'm going to tell them that, okay, so you did this, and this is the punishment for this, so that they get it that you're not just being wicked. So that they get it that you're not just trying to be difficult, you're not just trying to transfer aggression on them and all of that. So I mean, that for me is know thy kid, be present to parents, discipline your kids, and in school to give the school the permission to discipline your children. I know that these days parents don't want anybody to beat their kids, like especially in school. They be like, some parents will even go to schools to threaten teachers in front of their children that don't beat my child and everything. I'm not saying that don't tell. I don't believe in people beating kids too, right? But I feel that you can go to the schools, you can have conversations with the teachers without that child being there. You can have those conversations not in front of the child. Okay, I don't believe in people beating my child. My child does not respond to cane. I train him well at home. Once you tell them with word of mouth, he will listen to you. That's the way I train my children. It's totally fine. It's absolutely okay. But not that you will go and now tie wrapper and carry fight and go to the school and start screaming and raining, bringing the house down because somebody has scolded your child. If you don't want your child to be beaten, it's totally fine. They can discipline the child in any other way. Some parents don't even want their kids disciplined at all. So if nobody can talk to your child, nobody can discipline your child, and you are also disciplining the child, does child have good training like that? I mean, there are some things that the child will do that will be questionable. So I feel that parents of this generation, I feel that we need to do more because our kids are exposed to a lot of things that they shouldn't be exposed to. Sometimes it's not our fault, but maybe social media, maybe a couple of things, maybe the society, maybe whatever, a couple of things. Sometimes it's not our fault because we do our best. Sometimes you do your best in the house, but then that's not the only place they interact with people. They interact with classmates, they interact with different set of people, they interact, and that tells you something that okay, so maybe not allow, maybe just restricting them to kiddies content is not enough. Maybe I need to have such conversations with them, such and such conversations with them, and then you actually do that. So for me, I feel that the parents of that girl failed hard. They didn't do a good job. I don't think they knew or they know their daughter, and I feel that right now their focus should be on the girl healing, and the boys too. I think that the focus of the parents should be on taking care of their child, ensuring that the child gets all the necessary help that she needs. You can drag the school anytime. If you don't talk to your children, there are a lot of things you may not know about them. They may totally be different in school and then they're totally different at home because they just feel that maybe daddy and mommy just have 5 minutes or 10 minutes of their time to deal with us, so they'll just put on a show for you. And I think it's important for you to be physically present in your child's life. Don't just be an egg donor or a sperm donor. Actually be a parent because you asked for this child to come. The child did not ask you to bring him to this world. You brought him by yourself. So you should be available physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever way you need to be available. You should be a present parent. You should be present in their lives. You should learn to understand them. You should know your child. And you should learn to, as much as you love them, our precious children are not as innocent as we like them to be most times. So you need to learn them, you need to understand them, you need to be able to tell when your child's lying. You need to be able to tell when your child has done something wrong. You need to be able to tell when your child is being too much. You need to be able to tell a lot of things about your child. So let it not be that every time somebody complains about your child or they tell you that, oh, your child have done something wrong, you're so defensive about that because you don't know your child. And then the child will come and say, okay, I know how to work mommy. You think they are not wise? They are very wise and they know how to work their parents. Maybe the child already knows how to work mommy. The boy will just come and work you and then give you some stories, and then you totally believe the child, which is okay. But then if you understand your child, you learn them. Like the kids around me, when they are lying, I can tell because I've taken my time to study them. I've taken my time to understand. I know the ones that are notorious liars. I know the ones that don't lie, that will tell you the truth the way it is. And I know the ones that will tweak the story, half truth, half lie. So understanding kids is actually like the first thing. But how do you get to understand your children when you don't spend enough time with them, when you don't get to know who they are? They have their own personality and you need to take your time to learn them. So if you don't understand them, learn their pattern of behavior, which changes most of the time, which changes a lot because of maybe the friends they have in school, or because children are just basically copycats, and it's actually very easy for them to pick up mannerisms from here and there. It's super easy for them. So sometimes it can be a bit difficult to pick a pattern, but when you know them truly, you know that, oh, okay, so this is just a phase. He has just picked up a pattern in school and is then trying to fix it. But when you don't know your child, I mean, how do you notice these subtle differences, these little changes? How do you know? How do you notice it? I think that's all I have to say about the parenting part. I think parents should actually do their job as parents. And I know it's hard, but God will help all parents out there. I'm just scared that when I start having kids, God, please. God, please. Anyways, that said, I want to talk about the school. I think the school too failed. I think the school failed, and they were negligent in their duties. If you can take kids to travel thousands of miles away from home, then you should be able to cater to them, look after them carefully. Because when you watch that video, you realize that those kids were comfortable amongst themselves, which means that's probably not the first time they were hanging out, which means that does that mean that there was no housemaster or housemistress that was put in charge of, catering to the kids, ensuring that boys don't go to girls' room and all of that? Because if they have housemasters and housemistresses, I would believe that they will do like round checks, maybe periodic round checks, even overnight, because that's your job there, to ensure that things like this don't happen, to ensure that even because they are in hotels safe, to ensure that because they are somebody's children, to ensure that they don't get kidnapped at any point in time or something happens to them, to ensure that they are fine. So there should be a round trip happening. Are we saying that because the children have been put in a particular hotel room, they are there at their own mercy for the entire time they were there? So I need to understand what happened to, ensuring that you cater to children that you have taken away from the protection of their parents. You took them to a foreign land. You lodged them in hotels. Are you saying that you don't check on them periodically and randomly? Like, just go into their room because they are children. So house masters go into the boys' room, house mistresses go into the girls' room. Check on them at periodic times, random times, so that they have that fear that these people can come anytime, they can carry their wallet to come anytime. I don't want to be caught in any, because I feel that there was no check in place at all, because they were so comfortable. I feel that there was no check in place. They were not looking at the door. Nobody was thinking that somebody was going to come in at any point in time. So it means they just left those kids to their own vices. You guys should do whatever you like. No, now you carry children from Nigeria all the way to Dubai, and there was no, like, I don't think there was any control that you put in place to ensure that they were safe at all times. God forbid, even if it was kidnappers like enter the children, maybe lure the children to open the door, and they actually enter their room and then they kidnap the kids. What if it was hire killers? What if it was what happened? So does it mean that they didn't have anybody that took care of them? So I mean, these were all the questions that were running through my head. And when the school now found out that this thing happened, they now tried to hide it from the parents of the children, of the girl. That was very wrong. That was a terrible move. You have already flopped, and I think this is part of, for me, I don't think that school can actually, I don't think that school can teach children about responsibility, because you have to take responsibility for the things that you've done. You're trying to run away from the responsibility of the things that you've done. Under your watch, it happened. Whether you like to admit it or not, you have proved. And I think the next best thing to do is to let the parent of the child know that this thing happened under your watch. Apologize, remediate, try to rectify the situation, do all the things you need to do, but please don't hide the details of things that happen from the parent. And another thing, how how did the video leak? Because that's something that I've been thinking about. You know, I mean, and nobody's talking about the boys. So the school actually was extremely wrong. I mean, they were wrong to hide information. They were wrong, they were negligent in their duties. They were wrong to kind of hide information from the parents, and they were wrong not to take responsibility for the things that they did. They were totally wrong there. And another thing, so for me, that's for me, that's for it for the school. And I think government should actually take necessary actions outside closing their school or sealing it. If their license needs to be revoked, you will look into their activities. I think government should launch an investigation beyond this particular thing that happened. I think they should launch an investigation into the schools, because they've been in the news a couple of times for things like this. So a thorough investigation should be launched into the school. If they have their license suspended maybe for a couple of years, or if they can get it revoked, because you know, if these are the practices that go on in their school premises, then they probably don't deserve to, be an institution that trains the future leaders of tomorrow. So they probably may not be the right, school for kids. So I think, like I said, I think government should launch an investigation. I mean, this kind of school should not be training the future leaders of our country. Anyway, that said, and I also think that people need to talk about the boys as well, because the girl did not do that thing alone. And I think what actually caused a lot of outrage, I said it before, was because the mother came out to say some certain things. At the same time, I feel that every parent should take care of their child. I think the boys, their parents should also look into counseling for them. Their parents should get them checked, do like examinations to ensure they don't have any infections or sexually transmitted diseases and all of that. Ensure that they have thorough medical checkups done on them, and they take care of them physically if there's a need to. And I also feel that they need to also see therapists and maybe counselors, so that and I also, they need to drill down, they need to understand why or what is happening. And yeah, so for me, I think it's a job that both parents on both ends, the mother and the parents of the girls too, and the parents of the boys, I think it's something that they all need to take care of their children. And I think for kids in that school, I think this is a time that parents also need to have conversations with their kids to ask if they were molested, if any of these things have happened to them. I mean, I think this is an opportunity for you to ask your children, um, talk to your kids, learn to know them, learn to be their friend, learn to make them confide in you, because it's really important. And yeah, I think that just cuts it for me. It's very sad. The children are actually the victim here. We should stop villainizing them. We should stop spreading those videos. We should stop sharing the handles and all of that. They are kids. They don't know better. I mean, they're just 10, 12, right? And then we have adults of 45, 50, 35, adults who should know better. I mean, sharing the sex tape of 10-year-olds. What does that say about us as a society? What does that say about us as a people? I mean, we should just do better, please. Let's do better. And with that, I have come to the end of my rant again. Thank you so much for listening to me. I really appreciate you guys. You know I do. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, now would be a good time to do so. Please subscribe and share with your friends. And let me know in the comment section what you think about, this entire situation. Thank you and enjoy. Have a wonderful day.